So if you thought that market suspense was reserved for a Netflix thriller, then well, think again. Today's traders are glued to their screens as the Federal Reserve's quarter point cliffhanger hits prime time. Will Jerome Powell play the dove or drop a hawkish twist? Well, stay tuned because this could shape how every chart looks by the weekend. So before you place your next trade, watch this.
Why is fast trade execution a must? Because you're more likely to get the entry price you want and the exit price you want. Reliable, rapid, responsive. Join ATFX today and let's get you started.
Good morning, I'm Francois, your market analyst here at ATFX Africa, and welcome to your daily market brief. Each morning here, I unpack the biggest movers across currencies, commodities, and indices, blending fundamentals, technicals, and, well, just the right amount of common sense. Because, well, let's face it, markets don't always make sense. Let's kick things off today with currencies. The euro is holding around 1.16 to the dollar as traders juggle multiple moving parts, from US-China trade optimism to looming rate decisions, and that's on both sides of the Atlantic. You know, in the US, the Fed is widely expected to cut rates by 25 basis points, while markets are already pricing in another cut in December. Meanwhile, in Europe, the European Central Bank is likely to keep rates on hold this Thursday, which is tomorrow, which, adding into that, throw in a lingering US government shutdown and soft consumer confidence data, and you've got a dollar that's starting to lose its swagger. The CB's index slipped for a second month to 94.6, showing, well, that Americans are getting a little less confident about jobs and inflation. Looking at the charts, Euro USD sits around 1.163, still boxed in by that familiar territory. Resistance currently stands near 1.172 with 1.187 as the next ceiling. On the downside, 1.16, then 1.154, and finally 1.15 remain our key support levels. In short, the pair is currently like a car idling at a red light. Engines running, foot on the gas, but waiting for Powell to give the signal to move. Moving over to commodities, crude oil is hovering around $60 a barrel, caught between geopolitical heat and oversupply fears. Recent US sanctions on Rosneft and Luk Oil rattled markets, but OPEC Plus might just offset that by raising output once again, because apparently nothing says price support like more barrels. There's also the Israel-Hamas tension, where renewed military action is threatening to unravel a US brokeraged ceasefire that's keeping a risk premium under prices, at least temporarily. Meanwhile, traders are eyeing the Fed's rate cut, which could influence energy demand forecast. Looking at the charts after a 3-day decline, WTI is showing signs of stabilization near $60.30 a barrel. Resistance is around 61.5 with support near $59 a barrel. A more critical zone is also lying around that $56.30 a barrel level. If Powell sounds dovish tonight, oil could get a minor lift, but if OPEC follows through with another production hike, bulls might find themselves running on fumes. Let's finish things off today with equities. The German DAX index slipped to 24,200, down 0.33%, as traders and investors are trading carefully ahead of the Fed and ECB meetings. Corporate earnings are mixed as well. Simrise fell after trimming its growth outlook, and Deutsche Börse dropped despite beating forecast. The macro mood, cautious optimism. US-China trade talks have helped steady nerves a little bit, but Europe's consumer sentiment remains shaky, with the GFK index slipping further to 24.1. Investors are essentially saying, we'll buy after Powell speaks. Looking at the charts, the DAX remains just shy of its record high near 24,777. Immediate resistance sits at 24,370, followed by 24,550. Then the all-time high zone. Support, on the other hand, comes in near 23,900, with deeper levels at 23,700 and then 23,400. The index looks poised, but cautious, like a sprinter waiting for that starting gun that could either be a Fed rate cut or a dovish ECB press conference. Tomorrow's session could also bring some amazing fireworks. Well, between Powell's commentary, the US-China trade meeting, and the ECB's decision right after, it's the kind of setup traders dream of, or maybe fear of. Either way, the next 48 hours might decide how November begins across all major assets. And with that, we wrap up your daily market brief, brought to you by ATFX Africa, the broker that gives you an edge in today's markets. Head over to ATFX Africa by clicking the link in the description and, well, go and experience the difference for yourself. Traders, until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and trade smart.